How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Down to Earth with me, Kristian Harloff. Thanks for joining me here today on the channel. This is where we talk Monday through Friday UAP news. That's right, UFO news. What's happening in the world of UAPs? What's the information out there? We try to see all these stuff a lot of stuff that the mainstream media isn't covering, and stories that come out. We ask questions about it. Do we always say that they're factual? No, not at all. Do we try to ask those questions and poke around and say, could this be something? Well, that is certainly the case with this story. This was the Daily Mail that put this story out, and they insinuate that was one of the reasons JFK was killed was because of his poking around about UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Here is this particular report. So this is just the tweet here from Vicky Verma, who posts this. Was JFK killed because of his interest in aliens? Secret memos show that President demanded UFO files 10 days before his death. According to the Daily Mail, Kennedy sent two requests, one to the CIA and the other to NASA. The circulars had been useless in the archives of these departments for many years, but in the end, on the request made by author William Lester under the Freedom of Information Act, the CIA had to release the documents to him. So these are official documents. That's what it insinuates here. So to discuss this with me, I'm going to bring in Pavel. Pavel, how's it going?
Hey, Kristian, how you doing?
I'm good. So, okay, this one is always interesting because it's hard to not start to tiptoe into that tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff, right? Like, so let's start with the big question right away. Is this the reason why he was taken out? In my opinion, no. Is it the reason why? Everyone's like, that's the only reason they wanted to take him out. No. With everything else going on at that time in the world, it's not. Now, if it was one of the things that they said, and he's also making calls about this, well, that's one more thing to add to the list, is the way that I kind of look at it, to where he was poking around at people that there were really rotten people that did not want him poking around the stuff that he was doing and all the stuff that was going on with Cold War and everything else. At that point, it added to the list. Now, do I think that with Kennedy's determination to obviously get to the moon, to what his determination to put Americans in space and his fascination in general with that, do I think that it's certainly possible? Sure, I do. What do you make of all this?
I think that the official reason he was assassinated is because of that famous speech where he basically declared war to the military-industrial complex. But these two documents have been around for a while. And the reason I found this very interesting is because the Daily Mail picked it up recently. And the fact that such a big publication is talking about this means that these documents have some validity to them.
Right.
And I've also heard Ross Coulthart talking about this.
Well, didn't Jesse Michaels also put it in his documentary as well?
Yeah,
He
Jesse
did.
Michaels too, when he spoke to David Grush about the whole thing. So I think that it's a tricky one because we have no way of validating any of this. But you can see the parallels that I'm going to bring out right now. When Ross Coulthart, during a recent summit, talked about how President Trump was afraid for his life, and what happened on Saturday was kind of eerie. If we look at that, I'm not saying that the two things were related, but I am saying that if Kennedy was snooping around at the time, it could have been one of the reasons he was.
Well, that's it. And so that's my point, is that there's tons of stuff that he wanted to tell the public, talk to the public about, make it more about the American people, and these people who are holding the secrets to all this stuff was like, no, this guy is not playing by the rules. And look, there's some people who are watching, what are you kooks talking about? It was Lee Harvey Oswald. I do not believe it was Lee Harvey Oswald at all. I believe he was involved in it, but I don't believe it. But that's my opinion. What I would also say is Rob Reiner's podcast was fantastic, exposing everything that was going on. But I will say inside that podcast was no mention of any of this. Again, not to say this isn't official, but I think that it also, to be fair, is when you're covering stuff like this, you also want stuff like this to be part of it, because you're like, well, wait a minute, he was trying to get the truth out to everybody, and that's why you look at if that could happen to Kennedy, of course they're going to be quiet about it, and other people are going to be quiet about it, which again could very well be true. But I think people jump to it because they want more valid reasons to say why we're not getting the information we're not getting.
Yeah, and whether the UAP phenomenon is real or not, I think that also Kennedy was meddling into some of the tech that was
Right.
going around at the time, and that also is black tech. It's super secret. So if he wanted to expose that, that's obviously one of the reasons they went after him
Which
too.
is also crazy too, because it's like that's that to show you it does expose. Let's take the UAP side of it out of there, and if it is indeed if people out there do think, and I think a good majority, more people even more so now than ever, think that he was taken out and not by one person, that you can look at and relate it to the stuff that's happening in the UAP. That there is a separate portion that doesn't play by the overall hierarchy of the government and they're running on the side here. It always like because clearly these decisions were made. If you believe that Kennedy was taken out, then these decisions were not made in the way that they are in when you're passing a bill. It was made
Yeah,
in a private room with a bunch of powerful people in the same way that they're going, all right, we have this tech, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Who's talking? Who's this? Who's this Grush person? Who's that person? Who's that? What's going on? Keep them quiet. You know what, Kirkpatrick, go out there and do a LinkedIn post and say this. Oh, do this. Okay, yeah. You know what? Get someone to do this and say it's the same type of stuff. It's not to
yeah,
the extent, but it's the same type of stuff. It's like they run on that type of secrecy.
yeah. And it brings me back to something Carl Nell said in the SALT conference, where he talks about unelected people who control the country and this secret. And I think that no president has ever had any type of power above these people.
Right.
And because they're just there for 4 or 8 years and that's it. So even if Clinton, whoever wanted to know about these secrets, they wouldn't be told either way because they're just passing through,
That's
you
I
know?
mean that, yeah, I mean that's why you look at certain things. Like, do I think there's I think that some of the presidents, whether it be Obama, Trump, Clinton, Bush, all of them, I think that they all have been briefed and know things. They don't know all of it. They know things. That's why
Yeah.
it's, as you said, they're looked at as hired guns. They'll know what they need to know in certain things here and there. Maybe we can tell them this, but then make sure they don't say anything, but we'll tell them that. Don't really tell them about that because they ain't going to be here. We are going to be here. We've been here. The whole crew's been here. That guy has been here for 80 years. And then he trained this guy who's going to be here for another 80 years. And then that guy's going to be here for another 80 years. And that guy and that guy and that guy. And it passes on. And that's how they continue this secret. Now, whether or not, there's more of a push to, I don't know. What did you, this is, let's get into that because we can combine, well, let me pause it. So overall, I don't know. I don't know. I think it just kind of cements what we all knew that even if you say this is real, he probably knew a lot, and that's why. And these documents come out. Pavel, who knows the other type of documents that are out there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, we have to also note that the people that have control over this secret, none of them are government officials. They're all citizens. And that's how they can keep it a secret because they're private, private corporations, private citizens. We have to note that too.
Yes, agreed. Okay, Pavel, my friend, thank you for joining us.
Take care, man.
All right. So I asked you guys once again, what do you think of all of it? This document, as Pavel mentioned, where Ross Coulthart has talked about it, Jesse Michaels has talked about it, and now the Daily Mail seems to have gotten a hold on it to bring legitimacy to it. Now, even though Pavel's not wrong, where the Daily Mail is more of a bigger outlet, they don't carry the weight of CNN, a Fox News, and MSNBC, all these different ABC, all these different news outlets. They don't carry the weight of them. And the idea that this wasn't even brought up on any of those outlets again, and I will continue to bring this and beat that drum. News Nation, still, I don't think they covered it either. This is the type of stuff that I go like this in two ways. The first is, well, if this thing was legit, and these documents are legit, that he was asking about this stuff, and no one's covering it. My first question is it legit? Is it real? And my second one is, if it is, something stinks. And I think that's pretty evident. Anyway. All right. Go ahead and put your comments in there. What do you think? I want to hear about all of it, man. Your thoughts on whether or not you think this is a big nothing burger. Is it something that should be explored more? Is it more of these type of things that'll happen? There's been talk about more of the Kennedy files being opened up in the next couple of years. Is this the type of stuff that we'll find? What say you? Put your thoughts in there. I want to hear it. As always, put your comments in there, but also subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. We're almost there. And a way to support the channel, if you want to support us and you're able to support us, help yourself out. Get something wonderful for yourself. I'm going to tell you about one of our sponsors, and that's Factor. Check this out, and we'll see you later. Bye. Hey, guys, thanks for watching the show. Really appreciate you being here, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to hear about somebody I love, and that's Factor. Factor, to me, the meals are just delicious. And with sunny days here, fueling up with Factor there's no prep, there's no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus. Factory's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, and they're ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always find time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. I cannot tell you guys, we have been working on this studio. We have been doing stuff, and Brett, who is here, if you don't know Brett is one of the best. He's a producer, and he works on this studio, and he's gotten it looking really, really good. Well, Brett gets hungry. I said, Brett, guess what? I got some good meals for you, and we got Factor. And Brett's been most energy I've seen him running around because he's been eating well with Factor. They have 35 meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, and you'll always have new flavors to explore. You got to treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. So if you head to factormeals.com/DTE50, you use that code DTE50, you'll get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code DTE50 at factormeals.com/DTE50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while subscription is active. Get it. You'll thank me for it. I appreciate it.